What is going on, guys? It's my last day in Minnesota, actually my last half day, and I got to take off and get on the road. But I stopped at a random lake somewhere close to where I was camping, and I'm gonna fish for a few hours and show you guys how to fish grass, deep grass specifically, and see if we can't catch a few. So stay tuned. So the first thing I do is, well, the first thing I did is I went and I looked on Google Earth and saw that this lake had grass in it, so I decided to stop at it on the way home. And it has deeper grass. I compared it to the Navionics app that I have on my phone. The Navionics web app on your internet will work too. But just kind of looked around, found a lake that had what looked like deeper grass, comparing it to the depth charts on Navionics. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to idle around. This is not a very big lake. I know the sun's going to get in your eyes, but this is not a very big lake. It's really small. So I'm going to idle around the shallow parts of the lake and along the steep drop and see what kind of grass we have and start from there. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for grass that's sticking out further than all the other grass in the area, maybe clumpier out further. We'll get more into that as I start to fish it, but the biggest thing is I'm just looking for places where the grass sticks out furthest, and I'm looking using my fish finder and my eyes mainly to be able to see that. And yes, I put on a hoodie because it's cold. It's 53 degrees and blowing. I love it up here. It's like 100 degrees back home, so I can deal with a hoodie. All right, so it's still early. Sun hasn't got up high yet. The bass are still shallow. They're actually on the inside grass line, and I'm throwing a little paddle tail swim bait along the inside edge of the grass line, just catching, you know, 3, 4, well, so far 3 or 4. And I'm going to keep doing that until the sun gets up good and high and these bass start to move off the inside of grass line and get out into that outside grass line and onto that deeper grass, and that's when I'm going to start flipping. All right, so this is kind of the stuff I'm talking about. I'm sorry about the sun being behind me still, but I don't know if you guys can see that, but coming up here out in front of this dock, is a point of grass that comes out, and it stops just before you get to that diving platform. So, and it comes out to about right there. So it just kind of sticks out and comes back in. So that's a point of grass, and I'm gonna really focus on the outside edge and see what kind of thick stuff is there, see if it's worth flipping. All right, so things I'm looking for are the thickest spots that stick out the furthest. I don't know, I can stand up there and I'll fall on them in the water. And so as I'm working along this point of grass, I am looking, when a good pair of polarized glasses come in handy, but I'm looking for those thick or thicker places. And I'm flipping to it and I let it go all the way to the bottom. And we'll talk about technique here in just a second, but that's kind of what I'm looking for. Bass love to get out on the outside edge as far out as they can, but they still want to feel safe. They still want to feel covered. And so they're going to get into those thickest patches. And I'm looking for the ones that are all by themselves that may hold one big bass, or you can find a big patch that may hold 10 or 15 of them. But definitely flip at everything that looks different, really. Can't believe I'm standing up here, I'm gonna fall on my butt. There they are. I'm just messing around waiting for the sun to come up good. That's all I'm doing. Throwing a swim bait shallow. Ooh, he took that one deep. Catching a smallmouth or two. Rock bass. I think the world record rock bass lives here. You done? How'd you get down there? World record rock bass lives in this lake. All right, so the first thing that you need to determine as you're going around the lake looking for these ideal grass patches is how deep is that grass growing? Where is that outside grass line? This lake, it's super clear. The grass grows all the way out to 20 feet, but there's a distinct drop at about 10 to 12 feet, and then it's kind of short grass from there out to 20 feet. And so you want to keep your boat in that spot. You want to keep your boat, you know, for me it would be about 12 feet deep. Keep it between 10 and 12 so I know I'm on the outside grass line and I'm visually looking for those thick grass patches to pitch into. Now, I'm not saying stay out there. If you see a delicious grass patch that's sitting, you know, a little further away than you can cast, move in and cast to it. Why not? But your rule of thumb is to stay on that outside grass line and then hit everything, all the thick patches that are the closest to you, and catch fish. So let me show you how I do it. All right, so I'm working my way along this grass line, hitting spot lock when I get to a spot. The wind's blowing pretty hard. I wish it wasn't blowing quite so much, but it's okay for this video. Bass may not be there though. But I'm finding these little grass patches that are sticking out a little bit further. Okay, and my first pitch is gonna be right down the center, right in the meat of the thickest stuff that you can find. Let it fall on a slack line. One of the best things to do, thought I had a bite. One of the best things, or what I would do, is you want to fall, in order to get it to fall on a slack line in deep grass, you turn it this way and show you. Make your pitch into your, and as soon as it hits the water, let more line out just by lifting your rod up and releasing the spool, keeping your thumb just feathered on that spool. Let it sink all the way to the bottom, and then I shake it on the bottom. And that's the reason why you choose longer soft plastics that have a lot of tentacles sticking up at the bottom, is that most of the fish are going to be down on the bottom, especially the sunnier it is, they'll be down on the bottom. So I pitch it in right into the thickest stuff that I can see, give it some slack, let it fall on a slack line, and if it's really thick and you're finding that your bait is getting stuck on top, increase your weight a little bit, and also you can shake it and let it fall down, or it'll fall down in. But if you just flat can't get it through the canopy, then you need to get a heavier weight. Right now I'm just using a 1/2 ounce, but I'd go up to, you know, 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces if I had to, but that's more punching and that kind of stuff. And you see, I'm just shaking is all I'm doing. And I'm not going to move it very far. I'm not dragging it or anything else. I'm throwing to a spot, letting it fall down, shaking it up and down, maybe move it a foot or not even a foot, and then bring it back in, make another cast. So the weatherman really missed this. He did not say anything about strong winds. But anyway, I'm glad I'm not out on a big lake. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just kind of working along this deal, looking for this grass that's sticking out a little bit further. Throw it in there, shake it a little bit, hop it through. Always looking ahead of me as I'm working my way through, always looking for that next little patch of grass that's sticking out a little bit further. I'm throwing to 10 feet of water and my boat's literally in 20. That is a steep, steep drop. Of course, this is a glacial lake anyway, so. No, I don't think that was a fish though. It felt weird, so I set the hook. It just felt weird. See, I'm up here a little bit shallower. I'm in about 5 feet of water, but I see a grass patch that is all by itself. You know, it's funny, bass they are attracted to something that's different, something that's by itself. Let me drop my power poles. If you were to put a bunch of bass in a swimming pool and it was a white swimming pool and there was nothing else in the swimming pool, just a white liner, those bass would swim around in circles. The minute you take a dot, you take a black something, stick in that pool, anywhere you want in that pool, and all of the bass will locate to that dot. And that's just like it is when you've got a whole bunch of stuff that's exactly the same and there's just something a little bit different. The bass will be attracted to that one little different thing. So the sun just popped out and now I can see this is a lot bigger grass patch than I thought it was. So I'm going to hit all of the outside, the patches on this big patch of grass. I thought it was by itself, but I'm gonna now that the sun's out, I can see that there's some thicker spots sticking out just a little bit further. And yes, I know I switch hands sometimes. I'm more accurate with my right hand, but I reel with my right hand too. But when I'm just covering water, I can use both my hands. And for those of you who are like me who switch hands, it's always a good thing to learn how to just do short pitches with your left hand. But I, for the life of me, have tried over and over again to switch to where I'm only using left-handed reels. I can't fight a fish without the rod in my left hand. I have more control over the reel with my right hand. Just the way it is. But I can cast both hands. I mean, I can cast my left hand, I can cast my right hand. But I have to be reeling with my right hand when I'm fighting a fish. I just have no control over it otherwise. So it's supposed to be 4-mile-an-hour winds today. And they just keep getting stronger and stronger. Another thing to remember is when you get bit in this kind of stuff, there actually will probably be a school of fish right there in that spot, in that area. Keep making multiple casts back and back and back and back and back to the same spot over and over and over again. And as fast as you possibly can, you fire up that school and you can actually catch multiple fish off of the same exact spot or in the same area. But you know, and it's going to be something a little bit different. It's just what it is, and it'll hold a whole bunch of fish. Let it fall on a slack line. Always remember, I gotta keep telling myself the same thing. Let it fall on a slack line. You want it to fall straight down into that grass. You don't want it to swing on anything. You just want it to fall straight down, get a good natural fall. And so you have to watch your line really close. And I should be using braid. I'm not. I'm using actually a 7'3", nope, 7'6", medium heavy fast action rod. It's my jig rod, fluorocarbon line, and that's because this water is just so stinking clear. I got no confidence in braided line. Any other lake I'd be throwing braid, and I probably could get away with braid here. Just it's just a confidence thing. This wind is unreal. Confidence level is not very high, but due to this wind, I really wanted to do this video, and I'm still going to do this video. I just may not catch a fish doing it. Like I said, it's my last day. This is the one I wanted to get done, and it's the one I'm going to do. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. That's going to be a northern pikey. Throw a spinnerbait in Minnesota will guarantee you a northern pike. And they will destroy a spinnerbait. Gosh, they're slimy. Oh, I caught a bass. Was not expecting a smallmouth back up in this joint, but I caught a smallmouth back up in this joint. But if you ever faced with these type of conditions, go with a moving bait like a spinner bait through that grass, and you might catch something pretty dang cool. Smallmouth. Anyway, but you guys get the picture. I don't think I'm going to catch a fish doing this because of the wind. Can't feel a bite. And so if it's ever windy like this and you want to punch grass, you want to flip grass, good luck. You can do it. It's hard to feel bites, it's hard to do anything, and it sucks that I wasn't gonna be able to catch a fish doing this. But you guys get the concept. Make sure you follow that outside grass line. Look for those thickest grass patches that stick out a little bit further, that look different, that are all by itself. I had a video that I did as a mystery tackle box video I did a couple of years ago, where I was in a giant patch of hydrilla. And a lot of you guys might remember this. I caught fish after fish after fish in the same exact spot. And the only difference was that spot had greener hydrilla than all the other areas around me. And so they were all concentrated on the greenest hydrilla. You know, and this one in milfoil, it's the thickest patch of milfoil. And you just look for those oddball things, those things that stand out, and you will catch a fish right there. But be sure to use the right equipment. Be sure to pay really close attention to your line as it's falling, and be able to detect any stinking bite. And that's my problem today. These 4-mile-an-hour winds that the weatherman called for, yeah, they're 20s, but that's all right. But like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water. Go out and catch some fish and have a great day. We'll see you.